Welcome. At the University of Utah, you may encounter chemicals in the workplace. This video is to inform you about the basic information of those chemicals, the hazards associated with those chemicals, and your right to know what those hazards are. OSHA has established the Hazard Communication Standard, which requires employees to be informed about the hazardous chemicals used in the workplace and how to identify the hazards associated with those chemicals, appropriate protective measures, and where and how to obtain information on chemicals and chemical hazards. Employees have the right to know what chemicals are present in the workplace. They also have the right to know about the location and availability of the Written Hazard Communication Program and the Safety Data Sheets, or SDS. If you are unaware about this information at your workplace, talk to your supervisor. And if you don't know, ask.
Regulations require that employees receive training from their supervisor specific to their workplace. Training must include the methods and observations used to detect the presence or release of hazardous chemicals in the work area, continuous monitoring devices such as gas meters which may be present, the visual appearance of a spill or gas release of chemicals in the work area, also odors associated with hazardous chemicals in the work area, and any other special hazards that may exist due to the properties of the chemicals present. Employees can help protect themselves from hazardous chemicals by knowing the hazards of the products they work with, consult safety data sheets or other references to learn the properties of any chemicals you work with or around. Always use the smallest amount of chemical to do the job. Remember, maintain your equipment to prevent leaks or releases. Inspect equipment prior to every use. Don't use damaged equipment. Report damage to your supervisor. Appropriate work practices, such as keeping the lids closed on chemical containers and wearing the required personal protective equipment, can also protect employees from hazardous chemicals.
Be familiar with emergency procedures which are in place. More information on general emergency procedure for incidents involving chemicals can be found by consulting your University Emergency Response Guide. Let's talk about container labeling. Employees should know how to read a chemical product label. All containers from the manufacturer must include a name or product identifier, a signal word, either danger or warning, a hazard statement, one or more of the 9 required pictograms, a precautionary statement, and the name, address, telephone number of the chemical manufacturer. If you transfer a chemical from one container to another, first label the empty container. The label on the new container should contain the identity of the chemical, the warning word associated with the chemical, and any other information that might be helpful in identifying the contents of the container and the hazards associated.
Now let's talk about safety data sheets, or SDS. They used to be called material safety data sheets, or MSDS, but the regulation changed in 2012 and now we refer to them as SDS. There are 16 required sections in the safety data sheets. Each section contains information about the chemical, the hazards associated with that chemical, and the methods and means used to control or reduce that hazard. Be careful when using the SDS. Sometimes the information given is vague, missing, or sometimes doesn't even exist. If you have questions regarding the information in the safety data sheet, contact your supervisor or Occupational Environmental Health and Safety. And remember, if you have any questions, ask.